Next performer will be Zach Elmblad. Zach, if you're ready for this.
Yeah, sure.
He'll be reading from one of his books, just as I've read mine.
Sweet.
All right, I want to give it up.
Alright, so I began writing this book. It's called Borderline Vagabond in 2012, and finished writing it in 2014, published it in 2015. This is chapter 9, it's called Arrival. Our world exists 24 hours a day, 365.25 days a year in a state of perpetual movement and change. The feeling of being a part of that power is overwhelming and exhilarating, knowing that you're part of something much, much bigger than yourself. The interconnectedness of consciousness and the collective identity of thousands of years of human history culminating and condensing into what finally became you. Talk is cheap, they say, and lies are expensive. The problem with these metaphors, and with metaphors in general, is that most people just don't understand them. You may think that they do, but they don't. Not like you wish they did. I could never figure out why artists insisted on hiding their message and intent behind a veil of metaphor and speculative illusion. Some artists hide their message in a cloud of abstraction, and then they get even more upset when no one has a fucking clue what they were trying to say in the first place. Being intentionally ambiguous, hinting at things that you want to talk about without saying them for what they are, and then being surprised when no one understands what you're trying to say. Name the feeling, name the thought, name the experience. Say what it is that you want to say. Art is about symbolic meaning, of course, but increasing the layers of abstraction only decreases the chances of people understanding the intent. We want a weekend read with a good twist. We want a 3-minute radio hit with a catchy hook, and we want a pretty picture on the wall of a place we've never been. We want a song to dance to. We want other people to dance with us. We want genres, we want styles, we want beauty, and we want variety. We want the new, the old, the trendy, the underground, and the never-before-seen. We want exciting, and we want state-of-the-art. But that doesn't mean we've lost respect for what came before either. These cravings don't come about because we're spoon-fed or stupid. It's because we've demanded choice and subsequently received it. Beggars cannot be choosers, no matter how much they might try. The only choosers in this life are the artists, those unabashedly fearless in describing exactly what we should want and feel. This is the world we asked for, and this is the world we've received. Technology worship and idiocy aside, looking past the famine and nuclear proliferation, ignoring the debt crises and the plastic oceans, at least we're still trying to make things beautiful. Some of us don't want to hear about the fear and the violence. Some of us take relief knowing that we're not the only ones suffering. We want feelings that we can relate to, new ideas, greater prospects, and a value to place on our personal experiences. We want something we can digest, understand, something that we can talk about with our friends and say, "Did you see this?" Our attention span lasts minutes, seconds even, but it's our attention nonetheless. If you want it, you have to come and get it. We are the transient generation, the vagabonds off to find ourselves. Our lives are our forms of art. We want to belong, but we don't know what to belong to. We want to work hard, but we don't know what to work for. We want to love, but we don't know how to love anyone but ourselves. We want to fight, but we don't want to fight with each other. We want to struggle, to anguish, to toil, and to sacrifice like those that came before us. We want to soar high, to make dreams reality, and to rid the world of whatever injustices we see. We have the will, the commitment, the perseverance, and the sparkle in our eyes. We want to take control, but we don't even know what we're taking control of. We want to reach for the stars, even though we know the stars are light years away. We want to reach past the moon because the moon is what our grandparents reached for and what our parents saw happen. We are the dissolute, those without constant, the progeny of the past's good fortune. We are the privileged, the sunrise, the dawn of a new era. We are the future. We want you to listen to us. We want to show you what we know. We want you to be ready to receive us. We want to change the world you left us with because it isn't yours anymore. Art is our answer. The word possesses as many definitions as there are grains of sand in the desert. Arbitrary and contrived as it may be at times, we all must appreciate it to some extent. Life would be boring and depressing without art. Walking through museums and galleries all over the country, you'll see the same fundamental concepts reiterating themselves throughout the centuries. Love lost, love gained, life lost, knowledge gained, oppression from those above you on the ladder, and indignation from those below. Frustration alleviated, wickedness vanquished, and longing requited. Vain sacrifice admonished or beguiled. Metaphor twisted and changed, gnarled and misguided. Misunderstood equivocation and obfuscation amidst layers of abstraction, like my language. We explore the meaning of historical allegories like mythic heroes, endless wars, winners' histories, and losers' defeats. We express our opinions on the past, present, and future. We establish moods and conjure emotions. Through cycles of deliverance and subjugation comes the distillation of new creative ideas. Anything can be art. View an Andy Warhol exhibit, watch a Kubrick film, listen to John Cage, hell, or even Merzbow. Good luck getting your grandparents to listen to that stuff for more than 30 seconds. Once, when I was in Washington, D.C., there was an artist who installed a polar bear in a suit pushing a shopping cart in the middle of the National Mall. And there was a bomb squad sent to assess the threat level. I couldn't decide what the better photo op was, the polar bear with a shopping cart or the federal agent pointing an assault rifle at it. Every day, all across the country, kids with paint markers and spray cans create art on our city streets and get arrested for it. Art is controversial. Art stretches our boundaries. Art makes our lives exciting. Art gives us reason to live that exciting life without fearing the hollow abandon it might expose. I see art on the highway, in the way the buildings appear on the horizon when you're coming into a city, the subtle masonry patterns used on overpass bridges, or on the walls that block the droning sound of the black snake of commerce, the personal touches of the surveyors and city planners, the cars we drive, their works of art, the colors, the shapes, the contours, the machinery, the design. The billboards are art, the light poles, the very things that we take for granted are art. Architecture is art, infrastructure is art, the ships and the subways, the trains and the taxis, the furniture, the food we eat, and the drinking fountains on the street corners, all art. Some overly bland and utilitarian, but art nonetheless. There's thousands of years of wisdom and tradition in the things we build around ourselves. I see art in the smiles of passers-by that haven't lost the thrill of being alive. Art in dancing at piano bars and nightclubs. We see art all around us, doomed forever to find the answers we seek just out of reach. True art cannot be contained or typified, just like true freedom. Not all of it belongs in a museum either. Not all art can be put on a wall and just looked at. Thoughts, feelings, experiences, memories, all captured in a fleeting moment by an artist's mind, transposed to fit the tune of your own personal moment with that piece. Some of that immortal star stuff transmuted into an experience that transcends reality and affects us on an emotional level. We owe as much to the people that came before us as we do to ourselves. We are the progeny of history, the new iteration, and the new ideal. For every crippling shortfall of society, there exists another triumph. Our art is the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. Our pursuits of truth and justice. We may never get it perfect, but we'll be damned if that'll keep us from pining towards that very unattainable goal. Try as we might to dissuade each other from ideas and opinions we find questionable, there's always someone there to tear down the curtain, and show us how things really are. These are the people that have found the main nerve. Those who see something beyond the horizon. Those who greet a new day with zeal, ready for the newest challenge. It's our artists that make our lives worth living. Those people among us who endeavor to find a new vision. They embark on an endless quest for truth and beauty, manipulating and challenging the timeless and shapeless concepts to which we assign value and meaning. These people can take what we know, what we're familiar with, and distort it and shape it to make it into their own new reality. A new reality that becomes our reality. Our collective interpretation of the world changes ever so slightly with every new idea. We may offer our opinions, as well as our personal commendations, but art is produced and created from things that already existed. The struggle with art now is that we have pushed a concept to such extremes that original ideas are now at a premium. You can't create something new without using tools, resources, and knowledge that you get from someone else. That's what makes art such a culturally significant enterprise. We place our own value on the artistic output of our culture. Our art defines us. It makes us who we are. Sick of pretending that you're something you're not? Stop. Sick of wishing your life was better? Make it better. Wish you could make that change but don't know how? Maybe it's time to figure it out once and for all. Sick of being told what to do? Stop listening. Shake your fist and make some noise. Take a stand for once and stop letting things get to you. We've all got one chance to live, one chance to make it, and one chance to live forever. There's no reason you can't start today. Get up off your ass, figure out what you want to do with your life, and get out there. We say these things to ourselves every day in the back of our minds, sometimes even loud. We need to remind ourselves that we shouldn't be afraid, that we do have the strength to persevere, that we do have what it takes to survive. I guess you could say that's why I was on the road that spring. I was there to see Hooper, of course, but there was so much more going on in my mind than that. Since I had quit my job shortly before I left, I was looking for a sign as to what the next step might be. I needed to get away from my nest of familiarity at home in order to place myself inside the larger framework of the world. While in transit, you become intertwined with the push and pull of time and space. I needed that feeling of movement to be able to look at myself from an outside perspective. When you go on to make a big change in life, there's always that moment of anxiety before the change comes. There's another moment, though, just after the change is made. The time where you're waiting for the engines to rev up, or for the cake batter to coalesce. That up in the air time is what it's like to be on the road. When people say they're on the road, they mean so much more than driving. When you're on the road, that means you're going somewhere. Maybe you're in a band on the road, a trucker on the road trying to make a living, a family on the road to Yellowstone, or maybe just someone with a lot of time on their hands. Maybe you're on the road to escape for a while, or maybe you have an important meeting with someone. Maybe you've gone on your first great journey. Maybe it's the last. It's hard to tell while you're out there. When you're on the road, you aren't really anywhere. You just are. The road is separate from our reality, distinct from our time and space. We went on the road to find the American dream, and we found a crisp shred of hope in a pile of rotting lettuce. Only a short time later, it seemed that Hooper had turned it all around. My phone rang in my pocket one day, several months after our journey to Milwaukee. I just bear-maced some fucking guy. What? Why? Pulled a gun on me. Fuck him. Why would he pull a gun on you? What did you do to him? Bastard tailgated me for miles and then cut me off, so I flipped him off, rode on his bumper and screamed, "Redneck, shit dick bastard, fuckhead," out of the window at the next red light. He slammed it in park and got out of his truck in a rage. Holy shit, so you bear-maced him when he came out? You just had it lying around? Been seeing a lot of bears down there in Chapel Hill? You never know what type of wretched scumbag you'll run into in my line of work these days. All sorts of fucking mongrels roaming the streets. It's best to be prepared. Bear mace doesn't kill, it incapacitates from a safe distance. He started coming at me with his gun like some fucking gangster, so I gave him a dose of spray can reason. Oh yeah? Because that's completely rational, Hooper. Blasting dudes in the face with fucking bear mace? What the fuck? He had it coming. Better than me with a redneck bullet in my fucking face. I was the only one subverting the... Holy crap. I was only subverting the power structure of the situation. Cheaters always win. You're lucky you didn't get shot, you fucking animal. He was being chased by the police. I assisted the pigs. So you pulled an assist by bear-macing an assailant you provoked. Surely you deserve a fucking Nobel Prize. A Medal of Honor even. I'd settle for being on TV. Maybe I'll just start patrolling the city streets with my vigilante can of bear mace, taking out muggers and rapists in lieu of the police state's obvious inadequacies. Fuck, man, I'm jealous. I wish I'd bear mace some poor bastard today. I'm in that kind of mood. It was a hell of a good time watching that poor bastard cough away defeated. Damn. I didn't know what else to say. These are the type of stories I always heard from Hooper Felonius, patron saint of running amok. I'm gonna go fuck this bitch without a rubber and never tell her I nearly choked a man to death with a cloud of noxious gas. Don't get the HIV. Fuck bitches. Talk to you soon. What did you want? Just wanted to tell you I bear maced some fucking guy. I'm busy. Fuck off. I tried to respond, but the line had gone dead. He had hung up. Hooper Felonius was a true work of art. His character was carefully constructed over the years. He was an alter ego of an otherwise completely rational person. Coupled with my character, the Borderline Vagabond, we were in the state of mind to create a fantasy world for ourselves to live in. Even if the dream world would only last a weekend, it would still be the dream. We would make it ours, play it by ear. That's how I found him when I finally made it down to North Carolina for a visit. An overnight romp through Ohio and West Virginia to the sounds of late-night pop radio and BBC chatterings. He was drinking coffee and walking his dog, fresh in from a morning jog. I wondered if he was still Hooper. In that morning glimpse, it seemed like his mystique had dissipated. His aura of brilliant chaos had turned into a pedestrian stumble of mortgage payments and gym memberships. Was he just another guy? Another face in the crowd dressed in running shorts and a white t-shirt? Had he drunk the Kool-Aid of some sick fantasy he himself denied the appeal of not so long ago? Why the fuck are you here? Go back to Michigan. You're not good enough for this place. This place is for achievers, and all you do is complain. He was still Hooper, after all. Why the fuck did they let you in, then? I yelled across the parking lot, walking towards him. Are you the fucking groundskeeper? The janitor? Did you threaten the management with fucking bear mace? Or compound joint fracture? Someday I'll tell you that story. You're not too far off. We shook hands vigorously. Hooper, it is a pleasure to see you again, my friend. Likewise, let's eat biscuits and drink sweet tea. This place has a nice balcony. We drove to some tiny biscuit hut down the road from his apartment. The menu was handwritten on a piece of poster board. I grow plants. Hooper, you gone hippie on me, you savage dog. I want to eat plants that I grow. I want to watch them grow. Fuck you. Nothing you grow will ever bear fruit. I'm a pro gardener, motherfucker. I'm gonna win a fucking prize with these tomatoes. Show me the ribbon when you get it. They're poison. I don't believe you for a second. Oh, I will. I grow shit, motherfucker. I'm gonna be so much better off than you when the zombie apocalypse comes. Hooper, you are a strange and terrifying human being. I grow shit. He had to work at 10 a.m. and that's when I went to sleep on his couch. I'm generally not a sleep anywhere kind of guy, but if I'm tired enough, I can make do with what I got. I had been sleeping in my car for the whole drive down, and it was kind of nice to stretch out. I slept without dreams, waking up to being called a pig fucker. I had no premonitions whatsoever as to what the next 48 hours would entail. That's it.
All right, Zach Elmblad, everyone. All right, based on circumstances, especially the heat, let's take a break. It's
Break time.
next up, King Charles.
The king! I knew he was a prince.